Hello everybody, welcome to my studio. My name is Leo, and in the today's video we're gonna do a review of the MXR Carbon Copy Deluxe, which is a full analog delay pedal that is actually configurable in stereo with two units, connected them with a TRS cable coming out from the expression output of the pedal. Now let's describe this pedal. Let's start with the basic function, and then we will describe the most advanced features that this pedal has, that are quite a lot. The basic functionalities that it has are the following. It has a mix knob that controls the ratio of wet to dry signal, a regen knob that sets the number of repetitions, a delay knob that sets the delay time from 40 milliseconds to 1200. Then we have the modulation section with the modulation button that activates it, and the modulation can be controlled by two knobs. The speed knob that actually controls the rate of the modulation, and the width knob that, as the word says, controls the width of the modulation. The Carbon Copy Deluxe is quite a mellow pedal, so we have a bright switch that accentuates the high frequency of the delay. When activated, it boosts the 1.5 kHz frequency by 4.5 dB, and it decreases the 200 Hz by minus 3 dB. Then we have the tap div button that cycles through tap tempo subdivisions between dotted 8th, 8th, triplet and 16th. Finally, we have the two foot switches, the effect switch that toggles effect on or bypass it, and the tap beat that sets the tempo of the repetitions. The very last thing is that it is powered by 9V DC. As regards the advanced functionalities, I've grouped them in three clusters because there are really tons of them. The first one is that you can use the expression pedal in order to swap between two different saved setting configurations. The second one is that you can use the expression output in order to connect two carbon copy pedals with the TRS cable for having a stereo sound. And the third one is that you can use an external tap switch to set the tempo so that the top bit switch is free in order to be used to select between two saved configurations, or you can use the external tap switch to set the bright button or the dim button or the mode button, or switch between two save setting configurations. So really tons of functionalities. In a subsequent section of this video, I would focus on the second functionality. I mean the one that can be used in order to have a stereo fully analog delay pedal. Let me go straight to the point of why I think this is a great pedal, which are the selling points for me, and why I choose it for my pedalboard. Mainly for three reasons. The first one is that in my opinion it sounds great and it can be very discreet. I love the warm sound of the repetition that it has, that let this pedal sounds great in a mix even with a lot of delay and repetition going on. For instance, in the song at the beginning of the video I had two guitars with a lot of delays that were playing at the same time, and in my opinion they both sit well in the mix without having a messy mix. And this is mainly due, in my opinion, thanks to the nice equalization of the repetition that this pedal has by default. So the first selling point, as I was saying, it sounds great. The second selling point is that it is a great unit for recording, because actually it has an internal switch with which you can remove the dry signal, so that I can record the way I like. I mean, I can record the dry signal of the guitar just with the distortion if I want it in one specific track, and then I can dedicate other two tracks for recording the modulation and timing effects, like the one coming out from this pedal. And this allows me to decide the amount, the level of effects I want while mixing, and so balancing the mix and the sound of the guitar with the effect with all the other parts that are contained in the mix of the song I'm doing. I'm talking about two tracks with the effect because it is fully configurable in stereo, and this is the third and maybe the major selling point for me. Yes, because being fully analog and stereo, it is a real rarity for delay pedals. I mean, at least for what I know. I know that there are other fully analog stereo delay pedals. For instance, the MXR Carbon, I hope that I pronounce it well, but it has a much higher price because it costs more than $720, and it has also a long waiting list. So this is basically the only possibility I know, not considering the MXR. Please let me know in the comment below, by the way, if you know other stereo delay analog pedals. So now let's hear some more sounds. First of all, the signal chain. I have my Shure Alti Pro that then goes in a Polytune 3, which is buffered, then in a TC Electronic Quintessence, in RC Booster, and in the Kingtone Duelist. I'm not using neither of these effects. Then the signal proceed going to the Victory before the Countess. That is my preamplifier, and I use it for both clean and distorted sound. And then the Victory goes into a Lele P-split. The P-split split the signal in two chains. One goes directly into a Millennium preamplifier that then goes in a Lynx Aurora converter that then goes in the computer. And the other chain goes into a Catalina Chorus by Seymour Duncan that then goes into the couple of Carbon Copy Deluxe that are connected in stereo. The Carbon Copy Deluxe then goes into an Universal Audio 2610 tube amplifier that then goes into a Lynx Aurora straight in the computer. In the computer I have loaded a torpedo wall of sound cabinet simulator. So let's hear how it sounds. Let's play with the bright switch. So really a very different sound one to the other. The bright switch boosts this frequency and it decreases this frequency. And this gives, in my opinion, totally different flavors to the delay repetition and so to your sound. Another interesting thing is that when the pedal is set in stereo, we will see how to set it in stereo in a few minutes, you are going to have synchronized tap beat tempo for both pedals. So as you may have noticed, both pedals were synchronized. An interesting feature when you set this pedal in stereo is that the tap division can be set differently according to each of the two pedals, and this really makes the difference, spreads the sound. For instance, now one pedal is set to quarter notes and the other is set to dotted eighth. Change this one to triplet and this one to dotted eighth. With the tap division button you can set between quarter notes, dotted eighth note, eighth note, triplets, 16th. And of course you can differentiate one pedal from the other to obtain this stereo sound I was talking about. The setting I prefer the most is this one. You have the mix knob with which you mix the level of delay. I set to the maximum level because I'm recording the delay effect to two separate tracks, so I can change the amount of effects, changing the volume of the two tracks containing the effect. The regen knob set the level of repetitions. The delay knob change the tempo. It overrides the tap beat foot switch. And then you have the modulation side. So the width knob is very drastic. And this is the position I prefer, so adding a suitable level of modulation, even though the setting I prefer the most is the one with the Catalina chorus engaged before the delays. Now let's switch to a distorted sound. This is the tone I was using in the song at the beginning of the video. Let's remove the Catalina chorus. Now, basically, I don't like the sound you have engaging the bright switch, because the delay repetition are becoming too much invasive to my taste. Let's have a look on how to synchronize two carbon copy pedals in order to have a stereo setting. Basically, you have to connect the two pedals with a mono TRS cable that has to be inserted in the expression output of the two pedals. Then you have to remove the power and then to switch on the master while pressing at the same time the bright switch and the tap div switch. And then you have to power down the slave pedal, pressing together the bright and the tap bit. So as you may have noticed now, the flashing light of the tap bit is perfectly synchronized. And if you change it, it still stays synchronized. Very clever solution from MXR. So finally, this is the pedal of choice for my pedal board for the reasons I was describing previously. It is a great sounding delay pedal, it is very gentle, it is fully stereo analog, so that you don't need to have an ADA, an analog to digital and digital to analog conversion going through this pedal that can produce a degradation of the signal. So you have a pure analog tone. And then the other reason is that it is great for recording, because with the internal switch you can remove the dry signal. It has maybe two drawbacks for me. One is that when you connect two units in stereo, you don't have anymore the possibility to use an expression pedal in order to control the level of delay you have in your sound. And the other one is that the internal toggle switch for removing the dry signal are very hard to access, because there are these little screws here that are pretty small and unconventional. So one request that I have, if I can, is to add the toggle switch in the outside box. For the rest, as I was saying, it is a great pedal. So we reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button. It would be of a great help. See you in the next video. Bye bye.